What if the harder you chase what you want, the further it keeps slipping away? Most people today are exhausted, not because they lack desire, but because they desire without direction. They visualize, they hope, they wait. And yet life refuses to cooperate. Stoicism offers a brutal correction. The ancient Stoics never taught manifestation through wishing. They taught manifestation through becoming, through discipline, through character, through control of the inner world. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while reminding himself that nothing outside his mind could grant him power. Epictetus owned nothing, yet commanded himself completely. They understood a truth we've forgotten. Reality responds to those who are internally ordered. In this video, you'll learn 10 Stoic rules that don't beg the universe for results. They make results inevitable, not by magic, but by alignment. When your actions, values, and self-command are in harmony, life has no choice but to follow. Stay with me. When you stop chasing and start becoming, Rule 1. Stop wanting. Start becoming. Most people spend their lives wanting things. They want success, they want respect, they want freedom, confidence, and peace. But wanting, by itself, is passive, and passivity never commands reality. Stoicism begins by dismantling this illusion. The Stoics understood something deeply uncomfortable. Desire without character weakens you. When you fixate on what you want before shaping who you are, you place your power outside yourself. You become dependent on outcomes, on timing, on approval, on chance. Marcus Aurelius warned against this trap with ruthless clarity. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." Notice the shift, not imagining, not explaining, not wishing, becoming. Modern culture teaches you to visualize the reward. Stoicism teaches you to embody the standard. The Stoic does not ask, "How do I get what I want?" He asks, "What kind of person would naturally receive this?" Because reality does not respond to craving. It responds to consistency, to discipline, to identity. Think about it. The people who seem to manifest results effortlessly are rarely desperate. They move with calm certainty. Their habits are aligned. Their behavior is predictable. Their standards are clear. They don't chase opportunities. They attract them by who they have become. When you stop wanting and start becoming, 3 things change immediately. First, your energy shifts. You stop leaking attention through impatience and comparison. You invest it in actions you can control. Second, your decisions sharpen. You choose based on values, not moods. Third, people respond differently to you, not because you ask them to, but because presence commands respect without words. This is why Stoicism rejects wishful thinking. Desire clouds judgment, identity clarifies it. Your task is simple, but not easy. Each day, ask yourself one question before acting. What would the disciplined version of me do here? Not the motivated version. Motivation fades. The disciplined version shows up regardless. Do the work when it's boring. Hold your standards when it's inconvenient. Act with restraint when emotion demands reaction. This is how manifestation actually works in Stoicism. You don't pull outcomes toward you. You become the kind of person outcomes are drawn to. And once you understand this, wanting loses its grip because becoming is already power. Rule 2. Control your reactions, not outcomes. Most people believe they'll feel calm once life gives them the outcome they want. The promotion, the apology, the money, the recognition. Until then, they stay tense, reactive, and restless. Stoicism dismantles this mistake immediately. The Stoics taught that peace does not come from controlling results. It comes from controlling responses. When you tie your emotional state to outcomes you cannot command, you hand your power to chance. You become a servant of events instead of their interpreter. Epictetus stated it clearly. It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This is the foundation of Stoic manifestation. Not wishing for different circumstances, but mastering how you meet the circumstances that arrive. Think about how much energy is wasted trying to force outcomes, replaying conversations, imagining alternate endings, resenting people who didn't behave as expected. None of this changes reality. It only drains you. The Stoic asks a sharper question. What part of this is actually under my control? Your effort, your attitude, your response. Everything else is noise. When you focus on outcomes, you live in constant negotiation with anxiety. When you focus on reactions, you return power to yourself. Suddenly, external events lose their emotional leverage. You still act, you still aim, but you're no longer internally shaken by delays, resistance, or rejection. This shift creates something powerful, emotional stability, and emotional stability is magnetic. People trust those who remain composed under pressure. Opportunities flow toward those who are not desperate for them. Clear thinking emerges when emotions are not running the room. This is not passive acceptance. It is active self-command. Here is the Stoic practice. When something doesn't go your way, pause. Ask one question before reacting. Is my reaction helping me become stronger or just louder? If the answer is louder, stop. Breathe once, slowly. Choose restraint. This moment of restraint is where power accumulates. Over time, controlling your reactions trains your nervous system. You become harder to provoke, less reactive to disrespect, less dependent on praise. This inner steadiness changes how life responds to you. Outcomes begin to improve not because you chased them harder, but because you stopped sabotaging yourself emotionally. This is the Stoic paradox. The less you need outcomes to feel okay, the more effectively you move toward them. So you don't manifest by forcing life to obey you. You manifest by refusing to let life control you. And when your reactions are disciplined, outcomes follow with surprising speed. Because clarity always outperforms chaos. Rule 3. Embrace discomfort. Daily, modern life trains you to avoid discomfort at all costs. We optimize for convenience, speed, and ease. The moment something feels hard, awkward, or unpleasant, we look for an exit. And then we wonder why we feel weak, anxious, and unprepared when real pressure arrives. Stoicism teaches the opposite. The Stoics believe that discomfort is not an enemy. It is a training partner. By voluntarily stepping into small, controlled hardships, you strengthen your mind long before life forces you into larger ones. This is why they practiced what we now call voluntary discomfort. Seneca deliberately slept on the floor. He wore simple clothes. He ate plain food. Not because he enjoyed suffering, but because he refused to be surprised by it. He trained himself to remain calm when comfort disappeared. Most people today do the reverse. They wait for hardship to arrive unannounced, a crisis, a loss, a setback, and only then try to develop resilience. By that point, it's already overwhelming. The Stoic prepares in advance. When you embrace discomfort daily, something subtle but powerful happens. You stop negotiating with yourself. You prove through action that you can endure more than your impulses claim. This builds self-trust, and self-trust is foundational to manifestation in the Stoic sense. Think of discomfort as a signal, not a warning. Cold showers, difficult conversations. Training when you don't feel motivated. Saying no when it would be easier to say yes. Each small discomfort strengthens your capacity to act without emotional bargaining. Here's the key insight. Comfort makes you dependent. Discomfort makes you capable. When you are capable, you stop fearing uncertainty. When you stop fearing uncertainty, you take bolder, clearer action. and bold, clear action changes outcomes faster than any visualization ever could. The Stoic doesn't seek pain for its own sake. He seeks readiness. Try this practice. Choose one small, deliberate discomfort each day. Nothing extreme, nothing reckless. Just something that challenges your instinct to avoid effort or unease. And while you do it, repeat one sentence internally. This is training, not punishment, not suffering, training. Over time, this practice reshapes your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who doesn't need ideal conditions to act. You move forward even when things feel imperfect. That alone sets you apart from the majority. This is how discomfort manifests strength. Strength manifests confidence. Confidence manifests opportunity. Life responds differently to those who are prepared. When difficulty arrives, and it always does, you won't panic. You won't freeze. You'll recognize the feeling and think, I've been here before. And in that moment, while others hesitate, you move. That is the quiet advantage of embracing discomfort daily. Rule 4. Detach from praise and approval. Most people don't realize how much of their behavior is driven by the desire to be seen, liked, and approved of. They adjust their words. They soften their convictions. They delay decisions, not because it's wise, but because they fear disapproval. Stoicism cuts directly through this dependency. The Stoics understood that the need for approval is a form of bondage. The moment you require praise to feel validated, you surrender your inner authority. You allow other people's opinions, which you do not control, to dictate your choices. Marcus Aurelius warned himself constantly against this trap. He wrote that it is better to be true than to be admired. Because admiration is unstable, it shifts with trends, moods, and misunderstandings. The character does not. When you live for approval, your actions become performative. You begin to ask, how will this look? Instead of, is this right? That single shift weakens your resolve. Stoicism demands a harder question. Would I still do this if no one ever noticed? This is where real power begins. Detaching from praise doesn't mean rejecting feedback or becoming arrogant. It means refusing to outsource your self-worth. It means grounding your decisions in principles, not applause. Think about how exhausting it is to manage perception, constantly explaining yourself, defending your choices, seeking reassurance. That mental noise drains focus and fragments identity. The Stoic seeks freedom from that noise. When you stop chasing approval, 3 things happen. First, your actions become cleaner. You act with clarity instead of hesitation. Second, your presence changes. People sense authenticity when behavior isn't rehearsed for validation. Third, respect increases, paradoxically. Not because you asked for it, but because independence is compelling. Here's a simple Stoic practice. Before seeking reassurance, pause and ask, am I asking for guidance or permission? If it's permission, don't ask. Stand by your judgment. Accept the discomfort of being misunderstood. That discomfort is the price of integrity. Epictetus reminded his students that if you want to improve, you must be willing to look foolish in the eyes of others. Approval often lags behind truth. Detaching from praise also protects you from its opposite, criticism. When praise no longer elevates you, criticism no longer destroys you. Both lose their emotional grip. This emotional neutrality is powerful. You stop overcorrecting. You stop shrinking. You stop performing. And when you act from principle rather than validation, life responds differently. Opportunities align with those who don't need to beg for recognition. Trust flows toward those who stand firm without constant reassurance. Stoicism teaches this clearly. When approval is optional, action becomes decisive. And decisive action is what quietly shapes outcomes. Rule 5. Train discipline, not motivation. Motivation is celebrated everywhere. People wait to feel ready. They wait for inspiration, energy, and the right mood. And when motivation fades, as it always does, progress collapses with it. Stoicism exposes this weakness without mercy. The Stoics never trusted motivation. They trusted discipline, because motivation is emotional, unstable, and dependent on conditions. Discipline is structural. It acts regardless of how you feel. This distinction matters more than most people realize. When you rely on motivation, your life becomes reactive. You act when conditions are pleasant and retreat when they're not. This creates inconsistency, and inconsistency dissolves self-respect. Over time, you stop trusting yourself. The Stoic builds the opposite relationship. He does not ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" He asks, "Is this what must be done?" Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that he was not born for comfort, but for action aligned with reason. He did not negotiate with his impulses. He commanded them. Discipline is not punishment, it is self-leadership. When you train discipline, you remove emotion from the decision-making process. The action is already decided. Whether you feel confident or doubtful, tired or energized, the standard remains. This is where manifestation becomes inevitable. Consistent action compounds, quietly, relentlessly. While others start and stop, the disciplined individual keeps moving, and over time, results appear almost unfairly predictable. Here is the Stoic advantage. Discipline simplifies life. You don't debate whether to train. You don't debate whether to work. You don't debate whether to act with restraint. The decision was made in advance. Try this Stoic practice. Choose one daily commitment so small it feels impossible to avoid. One action that happens regardless of mood. Then protect it fiercely. No excuses, no renegotiation. This single habit does something profound. It restores trust between you and yourself, and self-trust is magnetic. When you trust yourself, your posture changes. Your words become firmer, your presence steadies. People sense reliability long before they see results. Motivation, when it appears, becomes a bonus, not a requirement. The Stoics understood that freedom is not doing what you want. Freedom is being able to do what you must, even when you don't want to. And here's the paradox. Discipline eventually creates motivation. Action generates energy. Movement produces clarity, but only after you act first. This is why Stoicism rejects emotional bargaining. You don't wait for the fire. You strike the match, train discipline daily, and life starts responding differently. Opportunities align with those who can be counted on. Success moves toward those who don't disappear when it gets difficult. In Stoic terms, discipline is not just a habit. It is the backbone of becoming someone reality can rely on. Rule 6. Accept reality ruthlessly. Most people waste an extraordinary amount of energy arguing with reality. They complain about what should have happened. They resent what didn't. They replay the past and resist the present. And in doing so, they weaken themselves. Stoicism calls this resistance a form of self-sabotage. The Stoics taught that reality does not need your agreement to exist. Fighting what is only delays your ability to act effectively. Acceptance, in the Stoic sense, is not surrender. It is strategic clarity. This idea is captured in the principle of amor fati, the love of fate. Not passive tolerance, but a disciplined decision to work with whatever arrives. When you accept reality as it is, you stop leaking energy into frustration and redirect it into action. Think about how often people say, "This shouldn't be happening." That single sentence freezes progress. Marcus Aurelius warned that nothing happens to you that you are not equipped to endure. The moment you accept that truth, your posture changes. You stop asking why me and start asking what now. Ruthless acceptance sharpens judgment. When you accept reality, you see situations clearly instead of emotionally. You stop personalizing obstacles. You stop dramatizing setbacks. You treat events as data, not insults. This emotional neutrality gives you a tactical advantage. Here is the Stoic reframe. Reality is not against you. Reality is indifferent, and indifference is usable. The Stoic does not waste time wishing conditions were different. He adapts faster than others because he doesn't argue with facts. Loss becomes information, failure becomes instruction, delay becomes redirection. This is where manifestation quietly accelerates. People who accept reality move faster because they don't hesitate. While others are still processing disappointment, the Stoic is already adjusting strategy. While others are emotionally stuck, the Stoic is already acting. Try this Stoic practice. When something goes wrong, say this internally. This is what it is. Now, what is the next correct action? Not tomorrow, not when you feel better. Now. This question cuts through emotion and restores agency immediately. Ruthless acceptance also dissolves bitterness. Bitterness traps you in the past. Acceptance anchors you in the present, the only place where power exists. The Stoics understood something modern culture avoids. You cannot control what happens, but you can control whether it breaks you or builds you. When you accept reality fully, you stop feeling cursed. You stop waiting for permission to move forward. You act decisively within the constraints you're given. And paradoxically, life responds, not because you demanded it change, but because you adapted faster than resistance ever could. In Stoicism, acceptance is not weakness, it is alignment, and alignment is what turns obstacles into momentum. Rule 7. Master silence and restraint. Most people believe power comes from being heard. They rush to explain themselves. They defend every decision. They react instantly to disrespect, criticism, or provocation. And in doing so, they give away their position. Stoicism teaches the opposite. The Stoics understood that restraint is a form of dominance. Silence is not weakness, it is controlled. When you speak less, you observe more. When you react less, you think better. And when you think better, you act with precision. Epictetus warned that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, not as a poetic suggestion, but as a discipline. The untrained mind fills silence with impulse. The trained mind uses silence as leverage. Think about how often people speak to relieve discomfort rather than to add value. They over-explain, they justify, they argue to feel safe. This constant verbal reaction fragments authority. The Stoic does not need to win every exchange. He needs to maintain command of himself. When you master silence, you stop feeding unnecessary conflict. You let emotional storms pass without stepping into them. You allow others to reveal themselves through their words while you remain centered. This is not avoidance, it is selectivity. Silence creates space, and in that space, clarity emerges. Here is a Stoic practice. Before responding to provocation, pause and ask, does this response increase my power or just my noise? If it's noise, don't speak. Restraint also applies to action. The Stoic does not act impulsively, even when emotion demands release. He delays reaction until reason is present. This delay protects him from regret and miscalculation. Over time, this discipline changes how people interact with you. They sense boundaries without you announcing them. They hesitate before crossing lines because your reactions are unpredictable, not emotionally, but strategically. Silence unsettles those who seek control through reaction, and silence strengthens those who practice it. This is why Stoicism values self-command over self-expression. Expression without discipline becomes exposure. Restraint preserves dignity. When you stop reacting to everything, life stops testing you as often. Provocation loses its reward. Manipulation loses its grip. Drama fades. And something else happens. Your words carry more weight. Because when you finally speak, it's deliberate, it's measured, it's rooted in reason. People listen. In Stoic terms, silence is not emptiness. It is preparation. Preparation for decisive action. Preparation for clarity. Preparation for authority. Those who master silence don't need to assert power loudly. Their presence does it for them. And when your presence is grounded, outcomes begin to align, quietly, steadily, without struggle. Rule 8. Build inner order before outer success. Most people try to organize their lives from the outside in. They chase better circumstances, more money, improved status, or the right connections, hoping these will finally bring clarity and peace. When chaos returns, as it always does, they feel frustrated and confused. Stoicism reverses this approach completely. The Stoics taught that a disordered inner world cannot produce stable outer success. If your thoughts are scattered, your emotions unchecked, and your values unclear, no external achievement will hold. You may gain results temporarily, but you will not be able to sustain them. Inner order comes first. Marcus Aurelius treated his own mind as a city that required constant governance. He observed his thoughts, corrected distortions, and reminded himself daily of his principles. Not because he enjoyed introspection, but because inner chaos leads to poor decisions. Think about it honestly. When your mind feels cluttered, every problem feels heavier. Small setbacks feel personal. Delays feel intolerable. You overreact, overthink, and misjudge. That inner disorder leaks into every area of life. The Stoic seeks to establish internal structure before chasing external reward. This begins with clarity of values. What do you stand for when no one is watching? What principles guide your decisions when emotions run high? Without clear answers, success becomes unstable. Inner order also requires mental discipline. This means reducing unnecessary mental noise, fewer emotional reactions, less rumination, more deliberate thought. The Stoics use journaling, reflection, and self-examination not as therapy, but as maintenance. Here is the Stoic principle. Order the soul, and the world becomes manageable. When your inner world is structured, pressure affects you differently. You don't panic when things shift. You don't collapse when plans fail. You adapt quickly because your center remains stable. Try this practice. At the end of each day, review 3 things. What you did well, where emotion interfered, what principle you'll apply tomorrow. This simple habit builds internal coherence. As inner order increases, outer success follows naturally. Your actions become consistent. Your choices align with long-term values instead of short-term relief. Others begin to trust you because your behavior is predictable in the best sense. This is where Stoic manifestation becomes visible. Opportunities don't arrive because you hoped for them. They arrive because your internal stability makes you reliable. Chaos repels responsibility. Order attracts it. When your mind is calm and disciplined, you move with purpose. You don't waste energy reacting to every fluctuation. You act from a place of clarity, not urgency. In Stoicism, outer success is not pursued directly. It emerges as a byproduct of inner order. And once your inner world is governed, the external world stops feeling overwhelming because you are no longer ruled by it. Rule 9. Live with Memento Mori urgency. Most people live as if time is endless. They delay difficult decisions. They postpone meaningful action. They tell themselves there will be a better moment later. And without realizing it, years disappear. Stoicism destroys this illusion with one sober reminder: you will die. Memento Mori, remember death, is not meant to depress you. It is meant to awaken you. The Stoics used this reminder not to fear life, but to value it correctly. When you remember that your time is limited, hesitation becomes expensive. Seneca warned that life is not short, it is wasted. We lose days not because they vanish, but because we treat them as disposable. Urgency, in Stoic terms, is not panic, it is precision. When you live with Memento Mori in mind, your priorities sharpen. Petty arguments lose importance. Distractions lose appeal. Meaningless approval loses value. You stop asking, "What do I feel like doing?" You start asking, "What deserves my time?" This shift is powerful. The Stoic does not rush blindly. He moves decisively. He understands that every delay is a choice, and every choice shapes his character. Living with urgency means acting in alignment with what matters most. Now, not someday. Here is a Stoic practice. Ask yourself this question regularly. If today were my last full day, would this action still matter? If the answer is no, reconsider. If the answer is yes, act without hesitation. This awareness eliminates procrastination at its root. You stop bargaining with fear because time becomes more valuable than comfort. You stop waiting for permission because tomorrow is not guaranteed. Memento Mori also removes entitlement. When you remember that life owes you nothing, gratitude replaces complaint. You take responsibility for your choices instead of blaming circumstances. This perspective accelerates manifestation in a Stoic sense. Urgency forces focus. Focus creates momentum. Momentum produces results. While others drift, you move. While others wait, you act. And over time, this compounds into visible progress. The Stoics did not measure life by its length, but by its use. They believed that a well-lived day was more valuable than a long, unfocused life. When you carry the awareness of death, you don't become reckless. You become intentional. Every conversation becomes more honest. Every effort becomes more deliberate. Every day becomes a chance to practice virtue. This is not morbid. It is liberating. Memento Mori does not remind you that you will lose everything. It reminds you that you still have something to use right now. And when you live with that urgency, life responds with momentum, clarity, and meaning. Rule 10. Become unshakable. Results follow. Everything you've learned so far leads to this final rule. Stoicism is not about controlling life. It is about becoming uncontrollable from the inside. Most people are shaken by events. A comment ruins their mood. A setback derails their focus. A delay triggers doubt. Their inner state rises and falls with circumstances they do not command. The Stoic chooses a different path. To become unshakable means your identity is no longer negotiated by outcomes. You do not need constant reassurance to stay steady. You do not collapse when plans fail. You adapt without losing yourself. This inner stability is rare, and rarity attracts results. An unshakable person moves through life with quiet confidence, not arrogance, not indifference, but grounded certainty. Their reactions are measured. Their standards are consistent. Their values do not bend under pressure. This is what the Stoics meant by virtue. Virtue is not morality for display. It is inner strength made reliable. Wisdom guides decisions. Courage sustains action. Temperance restrains excess. Justice anchors behavior. Together, these qualities form a character that does not fracture. When you are unshakable, three things change. First, fear loses leverage. You still feel it, but it no longer dictates action. Second, distractions weaken. You stop chasing everything and commit to what matters. Third, life responds differently. Not magically, predictably. People trust those who don't panic. Opportunities flow toward those who are consistent. Responsibility is given to those who can be counted on. This is how results manifest in Stoicism, not through wishing, through inevitability. Think about it. If your reactions are disciplined, discomfort familiar, approval irrelevant, and time respected, what could realistically stop you? Delays slow you, but they don't derail you. Failures instruct you, but they don't define you. The Stoic becomes inevitable by refusing to break internally. Here is the final Stoic reflection. Ask yourself, what would be left of me if everything external was stripped away? That answer is your foundation. When your foundation is solid, outcomes become secondary. And paradoxically, that is when they arrive. Because you are no longer chasing validation. You are executing standards. This is the truth most people miss. Life does not reward desperation. It rewards alignment. When who you are, how you act, and what you value are aligned, results follow naturally. Not all at once, not without effort, but steadily. Stoicism does not promise that everything will come to you easily. It promises something better, that when you become unshakable, nothing necessary will miss you. And from that place, you no longer ask life for permission. You meet it as an equal. Today's video was not about chasing outcomes or convincing the universe to give you what you want. It was about something far more demanding and far more reliable. We walked through 10 Stoic rules that reshape how you live, act, and respond to reality. Not rules for wishing, but rules for becoming. You learned why wanting weakens you, why reactions matter more than results, why discomfort builds strength, and why approval is a trap. You saw how discipline replaces motivation, how accepting reality restores power, how silence sharpens authority, how inner order precedes outer success, how remembering death creates urgency, and finally, why becoming unshakable makes results inevitable. But none of this works if it stays theoretical. Stoicism is a philosophy of practice, so don't try to apply all 10 rules at once. Choose one, just one. Practice it today, then again tomorrow. Let consistency do what motivation never could. Ask yourself each day, am I reacting or choosing? Am I avoiding discomfort or training through it? That's where real change begins. If this video gave you clarity, take a moment to reflect on which rule challenged you the most and why. Then carry it into your actions this week. Thank you for spending your time here, for thinking deeply, and for choosing discipline over distraction. If you found value in this message, support the channel and continue this journey with us. I'll see you in the next video.